I'm helping 2 companies hire UX designers starting last week. And in this video, I'm going to share with you what criteria hiring managers are looking for in the candidates in 2025 and 2026. And you might think that I'm a recruiter, but no, I'm actually a principal product designer myself with 16 years of experience. And yes, now apparently I help companies to hire UX designers for strategic roles that they fail to source out themselves. And if you're new to this channel, my name is Ines, and here I share what I've learned about UX, business, and building a career that lasts. If you're also into those topics, subscribe so not to miss my weekly videos. So how did it happen that I now help companies hire UX designers? And thinking back, I believe that was an inevitable step in my influencer's career. Because you know me, I always talk about career growth, and I have been a designer myself for 16 years, and I have attracted 86,000 people in my Instagram, and I'm developing this YouTube channel now, so I'm fairly new here, and that is becoming me a sort of a natural person to go to when companies need to hire UX designers. I actually started getting the requests like that since the last year, but I was turning them down because I didn't want to be a recruiter, and frankly, I don't want to be a recruiter right now, but I just know so many great UX designers now, so it feels unfair to gatekeep. So now I have those 2 positions to fill out. One for an AI-first startup in Berlin, and the second one for a big tech company in Barcelona. Both positions are for staff designers only. So if you're a staff designer or a principal designer who is on the job search, then watch this video until the end, because I'm going to lay you down all the requirements we have. And if you're not a staff designer right now, I still recommend you watching this video until the end, because many criteria, they are not staff specific, but they are just shaping the trends that we have in hiring UX designers in 2025 and 2026. Now let's go to the actual criteria, and the first thing that all hiring managers from those 2 companies told me, and we discussed that in details, is that they want candidates to be familiar with vibe coding for rapid prototyping. And we specified exactly what they mean by that. So of course, many of you have heard about the tools like Replit, Lovable, and Claude, but also I've met many people that were playing with those tools only with the first prompt and the first correction. So what hiring managers want is that they want people who were going a bit beyond those first introductions. And they want to see some evidence that people can really present some solutions, some rapid prototypes that would look a bit more refined. And I have to pledge guilty myself here, because I don't think that I'm currently very advanced in using those tools. I've been playing with them, and I even made a video on this channel about how I integrate them in my modern product development process. But to be frank, I have never reached the point yet where I could publish those tools and they would be sort of meaningful. But I don't think that companies want you to become a founder and to be able to publish this fully fledged tool with a proven product market fit. Instead, what they want is that you are familiar with the challenges that you are going to face on the way to hit publish. Because even in the projects that I have tried, really creating the first prompt and then doing the very first correction is sort of easy. But when you go a bit beyond that, then sometimes the model cannot comprehend the project anymore. And I am currently not clear how to get out of this pickle. And if you can sit and play around with a couple of projects with just pet ideas that you might be having, and you can really go beyond this will set you apart of the most candidates. Because also I've been talking with some candidates over the past couple of weeks, and most of them, they told me that yeah, they opened them, they played with them once, but they never really advanced with them. So this is the first criteria, and I think it is a very well thought through one. So they really see what candidates need to be showcasing. And if you are one of the potential candidates and you are thinking that you might reach out to me regarding those positions once the video is over, then really think that you can showcase me some evidence that you are being familiar with those vibe coding tools. Now, the criteria number 2 is also revolving around AI. And all companies also mentioned to me that they want candidates who are familiar with conversational AI. And they don't mean that they want people who can prompt with ChatGPT. Rather, they want people who are really deep into prompting and who can help users to create effective prompts. And here, the emphasis on end users is really a key, because unlike us, people who are anyway working in tech, we are working closer with this technology every day. Even if we don't consider ourselves to be pros in prompting, we are still more exposed to it than our end users. And if you think about end users, for them, AI is a black box. And they have a business objective in mind. So say they want to have a conversational AI set, and this AI bot will help their users to achieve some results. And they want to give a model some clear instructions, and they want to incorporate everything. They want to make sure that this AI that is coming from a black box is not going to be rude, is not going to be coerced by the users, and so on and so on. And they need to create the prompt. So how you as a UX designer will help them to do that? How can you explain to your mom, for example, what she needs to put there in the AI instructions window in order for it to be functioning properly? And if you don't think that you are on this level now and you don't get predictable results with the conversational AIs that you've been interacting with, then think about the principles, think about the best practices, think about the best cases when you've gotten the results that you wanted from the very first attempt. So really read about that, read about the guidance. It's not that complex in my mind, and I think this is something that can be obtained quite easily, but you just need to be able to explain how would you prompt on an interview. So these are the criteria that companies are having right now about AI. And this is virtually everything that you need to know. So nobody mentioned to me that you need to be able to, train a model or to choose between different models. Nothing like that. Very hands-on, very practical skills that are also not that hard to obtain right now. Now, the third criteria is something I was really pleased to hear, and I was always anticipating that would be a case, but since I was working in one company for 4 years and then in another company for 3 years, I was not doing hiring myself for multiple companies, so I could not know and I could not extrapolate if all companies are having this criteria or not. But now I know that at least 2 drastically different companies from different countries are having this criteria in mind. And this is the emphasis on UI, on user interface design. And I remember when I just started being a content creator and I came out with this idea that UI is really important for UX designers, I was laughed at, and I'm not even joking. And I remember that many people were commenting on my posts that I'm being delusional, it's not like that everywhere, UX design is superior, UI design is something from the past, and so on and so on. However, from my companies where I am hiring for my teams, we are having this criteria above most of the criteria there actually. And now those 2 companies, they both mentioned that as well. So UI stays to be a very important skill that you need to demonstrate. And gosh, oh gosh, so many people don't have that in their portfolios. Even if they are leads and staff designers and principal designers on the paper, and maybe they are really cool in user experience design, it's just not what companies want right now. They want a candidate who can do both sides. And without a really strong UI side, you are also not really able to create a strong UX side. Let's be honest with that, because user interface, it's what we interact with visually. It's the copy that we see, it's the micro animations, it's how we perceive the company, it's the essence of our experience. And that's why companies are now valuing this combination, and they also see that many candidates, they just don't have the sufficient UI part, because for the majority of time in the industry, the emphasis was on separating the UX design part and the UI design part. And now many candidates, they are being a bit behind, especially if they've been working at the same company for the past 7-10 years. They might have joined this company when this separation was a trend, and they were sticking to this position, and then they probably had a UI designer on the team, and that's why they were not able to practice UI design. And if you are recognizing yourself in this situation, then it is definitely something that you need to prioritize. And I have to say that I had to reject a couple of candidates already who I know are great designers, because I know them personally and I know what they're capable of, and I've been listening to their talks for many years, but they just don't have this UI part, and they also clearly admit that, but unfortunately this is the criteria that companies want now. By the way, if you like this video and you want to receive more videos like that, then give me a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button down below. It's important for me and for YouTube algorithms to start recommending you similar videos. And we're moving on. Now, the fourth criteria is by far my favorite one, because it aligns very much with what I see is happening in the industry. But again, I used to be locked in at my own company, and I used to be having some doubts if this is the trend that others are also keeping up with. And I'm talking about the emphasis on individual contributor leads. I remember, again, from my previous experience, when I have become a principal designer for the first time. That actually happened in my previous tech company I used to be working before my current one. And I used to be thinking, what does it even mean to be an individual contributor lead? We didn't have an open design manager position right now when I received this promotion. So I was wondering, and I was not clear, and people around me, they were also not clear. We did not have clear role expectations. That was something that was introduced newly to the company. And I could not sustain this ambiguity back then. I felt that I cannot grow in this position, and I switched to being a design manager when a position opened. And I was really striving in the design manager position, and I tried to make this switch at my current company last year. I was trying to see if I still like it, if this is something that still attracts me. However, I must say that now I feel way more comfortable being a principal product designer, because now I feel like companies are really seeking after those candidates, not design people leads, how it used to be like 5 years ago when I was switching my jobs. And this is the trend that I am really embracing. And I also see how companies are reducing the headcounts for the design people leads, because they are believing that principal designers, staff designers, they can also lead the team. They just don't take this administrative part of the work, and someone else can approve the vacations and stuff like that. And I am sort of agreeing with that, to be honest. And why am I talking about that here is that both those positions, they are for staff designers, and both companies, they emphasize how important it is for them that their leads are leading the projects, that they are not also like leading a team in an abstract way, just being a nice person, being a facilitator. Like, of course, design manager's position is way more than that, and I used to be doing that, and I verified it one more time last year. However, they see that people are benefiting towards the company goals way more when they are also delivering projects. And all hiring managers are really clear right now about the difference between leads, staff, and principals, and they really know who are they looking for. And again, that was not the case 5 years ago when I was making a switch, because I felt that it was hard for me to sell my experience as individual contributor, that it was way easier for me to explain what did I do as a people manager lead. It is not like that anymore, and companies are searching more for individual contributor leads, and hopefully now we will see more meaningful projects delivered in a better way with the higher execution quality, all thanks to this trend. And if you've been thinking, if you shall become an individual contributor lead or a people manager lead, like what track shall you choose? I would say right now, definitely choose the individual contributor track, because we are seeing that companies are really searching for candidates like that. So I believe that this is a very good trend. However, I must say that for me, as an individual contributor lead, for the past 4 years, there are still a lot of open questions. What does it mean to lead a team when you are doing your own project? What do companies really want from you? How close you need to be working with your head of design, with other people managers and things like that. And by the way, if you are having those questions yourself, I'm opening a free project, which is a community for staff and principal product designers. I just want basically to connect with people that are on my level, and we together, we're going to learn from each other. No teachers. It is just the circle of friends in my mind, and we can sort of find those ideas and those answers for ourselves. And out of those conversations, I am imagining we can do a podcast to share what we have found within this group with others. So if you are a staff or a principal product designer and you are in sort of my time zone, or you are able to join my time zone, I am based in Berlin. This should be quite important. Then check out the link down below. It's completely for free. Of course, I just want to basically connect with people who are like me. And if you are also interested in the positions that I'm offering, the links are also down below. Now, we're actually not done with the criteria. We have the 5th one. I was just making this detour. And the criteria number 5 is the importance of the stakeholder management. And you might say, oh gosh, this is again nothing new. However, I was able to specify what do they mean by managing stakeholders. And honestly, I'm so happy that I have this experience right now. And of course, let's see how it is going to turn out for me, for the companies, for the candidates, and if I am overall going to like it. But I was able to verify a lot of things that I see at my workplace, but I was not sure that other companies are also struggling with that. So what they mean by stakeholder management is not an abstract thing, but they really want to hear a story about you co-leading projects. And frankly, companies want to hear stories like that, not only from individual contributor leads, from staff designers, from principal designers, but from junior designers as well. They just want that to be on their level. They don't need to hear a story how this whole project disrupted the ways how things are done in the company. They just want something smaller, but still with this story of co-leading. And I was able to immediately understand what they mean, because I had this so many times on my own interviews with the candidates to my company, where candidates are working like they are an agency. Yes, they are embedded on a team, they are interacting with the designers, with the engineers, with the leadership and stuff like that, but they are having this agency mind. Like anything that comes their way, their responsibility is only to deliver it back with the best possible quality. And honestly, for the long time, I was not seeing anything wrong with this mindset. Also because I'm coming from an agency background myself, that's probably the issue. And although you might be a really pleasant person to work, and this strategy might work at your workplace, because everybody might be happy, you're so approachable, you are so responsive, anything that I send your way, you are giving me back with the greatest quality. And why should I not be happy as a PM, for example, as your lead? However, I will not be happy if I am really striving for the success of my team, because I want people working on my team to be seeing themselves as leads and to be able to chip in with the PMs or with the engineers and to find a solution together. And sometimes it means to challenge what they bring into you. And this should be clearly visible in your story, that you are able to do that. That you are not just sitting there and waiting until somebody else will come on to you and will suggest you what to do next. You are initiating your own ideas. When people are coming to you, you are joining them with those efforts and you are shaping the problem space. You are ideating together on the solution space, and you are even co-creating the designs with them. So at each stage of your process, there should be some evidence that you've been collaborating with others. And this is a very concrete requirement. I was actually not ever able to formulate it like that because I was never talking about that, to be frank, that much as I started to be talking about that with the hiring managers to find out what they want. And gosh, there are so many people really who are not having that. And frankly, also, if you were not having that at your workplace, it is extremely hard to fake on an interview. So you really have to have that. Your story really have to sound compelling. You have to have this evidence that at the beginning you are liaising with your PMs, then along the way you are having this partnership with your engineers, and you have those evidence and those workshops and those maps that you are doing together. And this is really important, and so many candidates, they are missing that. Also, some candidates, and I have also seen this, they are having some strong relationship with their PMs, but they are not collaborating with engineers. So once the work with a PM is done and the solution is verified, you are clear on what you should be building, you are delivering the project to the end on your own without actually co-creating it with engineers going further. Or a vice versa situation when people are working with engineers and they're really involved and engineers love them and they are co-creating stuff with them. However, when they are working with a PM, for example, they might not find this understanding and they're just listening to whatever PM is saying to them. So for those particular positions, this should be a number one thing that you have to highlight during your portfolio deep dive interviews, but also at the positions in my company and in the most companies I've been working to. I think we also have this as well. And what I think is preventing people from adopting this mindset early is not only the agency background or the freelancers background, although really indeed it is sometimes that we inherit from those workplaces, and this is where I'm also pledging guilty, as I told you, but also this fear to be an uncomfortable person to work with. Because if you are turning down some proposals, if you are challenging them, if you are doing some counter proposals, if you are involving people in the work that they might not be seeing as their work, if your company culture is like that, that engineers are doing their work in silo and designers are doing their work in silo, and the engineers are just expecting like some perfect guidelines and some perfect handovers and that's it, they might be annoyed by you involving them in this co-creation. They might expect that they come to you with a problem and you solve it on your own. Instead, what you are saying, hey, let's ideate together, let's all become responsible for the end user experience. And yeah, like some people might not like it, some people might feel that this is a burden on their shoulders. However, in the teams that are functioning in a proper way, where all people are involved in the end user experience, that should not come as a surprise to you. And if you're working in this environment, it might be easier for you to build a story like that, to showcase this quality, to adopt this mindset and to see it as a new norm. But even in those environments, sometimes there are people who are just reactive and who are seeing themselves as being a really nice and pleasant to work with agency. And you are really not going to score those positions if you are going to be showcasing the behavior like that. So it's time for you now to check the link below in the description if you feel that you have all those criteria and you are a principal product designer or a staff product designer in Berlin, or is willing to relocate from other EU countries, or from Barcelona or is willing to relocate to Barcelona from frankly any country, but both positions are very urgent. So go and check the link down below and I will give you all the details that I cannot disclose here, and let's hopefully talk. And for the rest of you who is not yet ready to apply to a principal or a staff product designer role, let me know if you will be interested in a video about what I've learned from interviewing the candidates and seeing the applications from the candidates as a recruiter. I think that I will be having something to share. So far, I have reviewed around 50 applications, but I have only started. I know that there are people who are working on their portfolio now, and I'm expecting they will be sending me their applications really soon. And for the people who are going to apply to the positions that I've been talking about, I'm also going to provide my coaching about interviews, about the hiring process. If you are also interested in that, you don't need to apply to those positions to get it from me. I'm going to have a course, Job Interviews and UX Challenges for product designers, launched really soon. Check the link down below in the description. We are starting basically now, or when you watch this video, when there are no open cohorts, join the waitlist to get the updates. And if you don't want to wait and you want to know how to successfully pass a whiteboard challenge interview, then watch this video with me and my student from the previous cohort where she does it perfectly. I see you there.